Some people are calling it the most boring title fight they've seen. Others are calling it an absolute masterclass. People have split opinions on Khamzat Chimaev's historical win over Dricus du Plessis at UFC 319. Going to go through and see what some of the fighters have been saying. Dana White has shut down all talk of John Jones fighting at the White House. Nurmagomedov versus Paul Hughes 2 is officially happening on October, and we have to have a look at the scary reality of fighters coming over from other promotions to UFC, and the light's just a bit too bright. People, it's MMA Monday Live. Sit back, relax. Let's get into it. Big up everyone. Firstly, big up to Never a Foul, Daps and Cass for the redirect. Much appreciated. If you haven't watched the show that we were just on, make sure you head back over to Never a Foul after this show's finished as well. Big up to each and every one of you watching. Shout out to the Kingsman. Shout out to Jonathan. Shout out Liam, Ottoman Turk, Martin. Right, people. I'm not going to extend too long because I've got another show for you guys tonight called Matchmaker Monday, where I go through people who fought on the 319 card and match them up with potential opponents in the future. We've got to start with the fight reactions, man. I thought Chimaev's performance was absolutely insanely good. And the reason I say that is because Dricus du Plessis has just gone for a murderer's row of fighters and he's beaten all of them. He's stopped Robert Whittaker, stopped Darren Till, stopped Adesanya, beat Strickland twice. Like, the guy's legit. Beat Derek Brunson before that, stopped him. The guy's legit. So I could understand if Khamzat was going in against a lackluster opponent or opponent that wasn't seen as game or anything like that, but he's going in against a champion that many people thought would take over in the later rounds and potentially stop Khamzat Chimaev as well. Chimaev went out there and dominated from start to finish. Now, I know we all sit there and we like the submission victory or we like the knockout victory. We all like that. Don't get me wrong. Hernandez did something similar the week before where he went out there against the leads and beat him up for 4 rounds and stopped him in the 4th, if I'm not mistaken. Sometimes you just got to sit back and admire someone who's able to dominate another fight for an entire 25 minutes. Usman did it with Tyron Woodley back in the day. And when it happened with Usman, I don't think anyone sat there and said, oh, he's a boring fighter. Or we all sat there and went, wow, he just dominated Tyron Woodley. We didn't think we'd see that. Khamzat absolutely ragdolled du Plessis. No one else has done that in the UFC. No one else has even come close to doing that in the UFC. So I don't get how he's got so much, like, just criticism after the fight. But look, don't just take my word for it. I wanted to have a look and see what some of the fighters have been saying after it's happened. And I think some of them have made some really good points. Hopefully I don't get copyrighted for any of these. I'm going to start with Adesanya. And do you know one thing I like about Adesanya? Adesanya's a fan at heart. He could go up there and he could crap on other fighters in his weight division, etc. He's a fan at heart. If you look at the video he had when he's watching the stare down between Khamzat and du Plessis, he's just excited. He's a fan like us. The difference is he's a world-class fighter who's been a fantastic champion. But here's what he had to say about it all.
Yeah, not what I expected, but I'm glad Khamzat fixed his cardio or improved his cardio to the point where he can go 5 rounds and just ragdoll people. That's a mess. That's a mess to deal with because I thought DEP, okay, maybe round 4.
I'm going to pause it there, guys, straight away. What did everyone going into the fight saying? Khamzat in rounds 1 and 2, monster. But 3, 4, and 5 would probably be du Plessis. Everyone said Khamzat has to get him out there in the first 2 rounds or else du Plessis is going to take over and it's going to be a long night for Khamzat. It didn't happen. He fixed his cardio issues, as Easy said, and we saw what happened. I'll let the video continue.
He'd be able to stuff the takedowns because Khamzat would get tired, but he didn't even slow down. He slowed down DDP. He slowed him down, which was very impressive because that's when he finished me round 4 because I thought, okay, I got him now, but he just finds a way to get his 3rd wind, 4th wind. But yeah, Khamzat made sure he didn't even get the 1st wind and just smothered him. 50-44, something crazy. Yeah, 50-44. That was crazy. So yeah, Hamzat, new middleweight champion. Division's in good hands. Yeah.
Do you know what? Shout out to Izzy. It takes a lot of humility to do what he just did and say what he just said. The division's in good hands. Now, I think that will rub some people up the wrong way because they'll look at it and think, well, another dominant champion. I know we've got combat catch up tomorrow with Jamie and Luke. I'm going to be real. I know me and Jamie are going to go back and forth tomorrow. And that show is going to be very, very fun. So you guys should tune in for that tomorrow evening. That's going to be a very fun show. But just back on what Izzy said, the division's in good hands with Hamzat as a champion. Yes and no. Yes, because he's such a great champion, such a star, and he's in my opinion, behind Izzy, he's the second biggest star in that division. However, we need to see activity. So that is one thing I'll say. We won't know how good a champion he is for the division until we see what his activity schedule is like. Now, he's already said he wants to turn around and fight in Abu Dhabi, which is UFC 321. Remains to be seen. We'll see what happens there. But wanted to play that video from Izzy. I've got another video here from a former opponent of his as well, Robert Whittaker. Want to hear what he's got to say?
Anyone that says it's a boring fight is a casual. Okay, no offense, no offense. Like you're gonna take a little offense. I'm sorry. If you're a fan of the sport, okay, and you're not absolutely fascinated by the ability, like by Chimaev's ability to control someone who's as dogged and fights out of things like Dricus, who's done it time and time again, who's physically never gasses anymore. Like super strong, has cardio for days, is prepared for him, has a great headspace. If you're not fascinated by like such a one-sided domination, man, then you're like, you have to be a casual. Because you never see this. Never.
Want to pause it there. You never see this. How often have we sat there and actually seen a champion get dominated from start to finish? I can think of a few examples. Usman versus Woodley, RDA versus Pettis. This one, and this is no disrespect to Woodley. Woodley's title run wasn't remembered to be great. I think it was an underrated title run, and I think Tyron Woodley was done very dirty by a lot of fans. But he was an underrated champion, but he wasn't rated like Duplessis rated. Pettis, that was his second defense, if I'm not mistaken. He won the belt from Benson Henderson, defended against Gilbert Melendez, and they got dog walked by RDA. This is about as convincing as get. 50-44, guys. 50-44 is such a wide gap. That is like, here's the thing, Volkanovski would have got an immediate rematch against Ilia Topuria, and Topuria knocked him out, starched him. But you know why he would have got one? Because Volk won the first round and was winning the second round before he got stopped. Not just that. Sometimes when you get a knockout victory early, the other person can sit there and go, you know what, you caught me. Doesn't mean you'll catch me again. Case in point, Cain Velasquez and Junior Dos Santos. Junior Dos Santos stops Cain Velasquez in their first fight. Second and third fight looked very different. We saw Cardio Cain put that work in and absolutely batter him. When it's as definitive as this, Duplessis can't go on to podcasts, he can't go on to shows, he can't go on radio. He cannot sell a rematch. Not right now. He has to go and get one, maybe two more wins before he can get a rematch. He cannot sell a rematch because it was so dominant. There was no doubt left in anyone's mind. That's how good this performance was, in my opinion.
This level at championship fights, this level of control, man, we just saw someone get crucifixed for like 15 minutes. Like, how can you be a fan of the sport and not think, wow, that's crazy? Anyone that says it's a boring fight.
Look, I have to agree with Robert Whittaker, guys. I'm not going to lie to you. Shout out to Martin Chu, says Jones Shogun. Yeah, that's another one. That was brutal. I'm not going to lie. That was brutal. Yeah, that was a tough one. But yeah, I mean, Mighty Mouse even spoke about it, basically said, look, if you're moaning about this, then maybe you just switch over to another sport. And here's the thing. I said this in the recap video. You've got glory kickboxing, you've got Muay Thai, you've got boxing, traditional boxing, you've got bare knuckle. Like, there's so many different iterations of combat sports now. Like, I don't understand. Like, Hamzat's game plan was very, very obvious. barring maybe the Gerald Mearshaw fight or the Gilbert Burns fight, every other fight within the first 10 to 15 seconds, he shoots on someone, he takes them down, he dominates them, and he usually gets a stoppage. Why anyone expected anything different here, I don't know. Maybe more people expected Du Plessis to do better with the wrestling. I did. But that makes the performance for me even greater, because someone who I rate really high just got dominated. And Liam says there's wrestling, there's boring wrestling. I fully agree, Liam. But I'm going to be real with you. I don't think Khamzat's a boring wrestler. Robert Whittaker just said it twice. He crucified him twice in the fight. Got full mount, took the back. When he gets ground control, he doesn't just lie and pray. He doesn't just lay and pray. He doesn't just lie there and just try and control head and arms. And now he's actively looking to hurt his opponent, actively looking for the finish. And that for me is what makes Khamzat special. So look, I'd love to know what you guys think about it. I thought it was an excellent performance, but I'd love to hear what you guys say. Right, another thing we have to look at. I've said that the light's too bright in the thumbnail. And I want to bring up this graphic on the screen here, because again, this is pretty crazy when you think of all things considered. Aaron Pico came over from Bellator and had his first fight in the UFC. And a lot of people picked him to beat Lerone Murphy. And let's be honest, Lerone Murphy was doing a hell of a job. Sorry, Aaron Pico was doing a very good job until Lerone started figuring him out and then caught him with that amazing spinning back elbow finish. But how difficult has it been for fighters coming over from other promotions to come to the UFC? And often we sit there and go, yeah, there are some outliers out there who are so good outside the UFC. If they come over to UFC, then it's a different story. You think about yesteryear, you think about Fedor never fought in the UFC and other fighters. But now you've got others. You've got other fighters like your Paul Hugheses, your Usman Nurmagomedovs, who people go, I wonder what they would be like. Decheva, who fights at 125. So many people sit there and go, what would a fight between her and Valentina Shevchenko look like? Myself included. When you look at this graphic here, MVP 3-1, Michael Chandler 2-5, Paddy from Cage Warriors 7-0, Reino Derrida 4-0, Kayla 3-0. But then you look at Manel Cap 6-3, Pitbull 1-1, Asakura 0-2, Aaron Pico 0-1, Ian Gary 9-1. The question is, guys, is the lights too bright, or is it just dependent on the athlete? Because there are some very mixed results there. Ian Gary is the one that stands out the most, coming over from Cage Warriors. But then you've got to add context. Look at the opposition they're fighting. Kai Sakura is coming in. The first person he fought was Pantoja. If that's not a bad matchup for anyone, then I don't know what is. MVPs came in, fought Kevin Holland, won. Fought Ian Gary. Ian Gary turned into a grappler in that fight. Nothing wrong with that. Just shows the level of MVP striking. Then he went on to fight Shara Bullet. Then he went on to fight Cannonier. So he's effectively fought 4 strikers. So they've been pretty nice with the matchmaker with MVP. I don't see MVP getting in there with a Khamzat or a grappler like a Shavkat. Remains to be seen. Michael Chandler just, in my opinion, has fought very, very fan-friendly and almost thrown his career to the wayside because of it. So, yeah, we remember Michael Chandler for some amazing fights, but maybe down the years, he'll probably look at it and go, I wish I fought a bit smarter because I could have maybe had a bit more success and actually had a title shot. Paddy's doing his business, arguably lost to Jared Cannonier. Apart from that, been absolutely brilliant in the other fights. RDR's been excellent. Kayla's a champion now as well. Manel Cap still flats to deceive. Patricio, again, beat Dan Ige, but you wouldn't say Dan Ige is in his prime anymore. Asakura, again, from Rising, is not doing great. Bellator, Aaron Pico, Cage Warrior. So, look, the Cage Warrior fighters are doing well. Bellator is 50-50. I'll be honest, Rising looks like where people are struggling to come over from. And I know we've only got a sample size of 2, but Manel Cap and Asakura are both champions there. So, look, I'm very intrigued to see what happens. I always find it interesting when fights come over from other promotions. Now, granted, the UFC have been like rough in their matchmaking, if you want to be honest, because Dana's probably done a bit of a Vince McMahon and thought, yeah, WCW coming over to WWF, I'm going to put you in with our best and see if your best can hang. So far, they're not doing a great job. So I'm intrigued to see who will be the next fighter to come over from outside the UFC. Obviously, Patchy Mix is also another one as well. Lost on his debut against Bautista. Very interesting, people. Very interesting. Are the lights too bright? Remains to be seen what happens in the future. On to the next topic, guys. And Dana White has spoken about John Jones. So in the press conference, which I won't play because I'll definitely get copywritten for that, he was asked, will John Jones fight on the White House card? And he came out and said, look, I can't trust him. He's not trustworthy. And the odds of him fighting on that card are 1 billion to 1. Now, first thing I thought to myself, I'm not even a betting man, but I thought, should I put a cheeky £10 on it? Because if he's saying the odds are 1 billion to 1, I'll throw £10 on it. Every one of you in the chat, and myself, my family, and my friends, we're all eating good. Now, granted, they'll never make the odds that, but it's still a cheeky tenner on that. Might not be bad. But then I started thinking, I don't often agree with stuff that Dana White says and does. And Dana White has had a bit of a U-turn here because he went from glazing Jones at every opportunity he had to now seeing and saying what we've all been saying for the last couple of years. Jones feels this sense of entitlement because he's been allowed to have this entitlement over his career. He's been allowed to say and do things and get away with things and it get pushed by the wayside because he's such a talented fighter. But Dana's right. For the White House card, you've got to put people on there you can trust. And look, fighters can break down. I can't think of a fighter off the top of my head who hasn't pulled out of a fight in their whole career. At this level anyway. Injuries happen, life circumstances, so many things can happen. But when you look at someone like a John Jones who has had so many infractions inside and outside the cage, and then you add on the fact his unreliability, his unpredictability, if he's on that card, you can't put him as the main event. You might not even be able to put him as a co-main. He might have to be the featured fight, which is crazy when you speak about John Jones. Because who are two bigger stars than John Jones in the whole of UFC or MMA? And maybe it's just Conor. But you can't give him a main event or co-main event spot because if it falls out, if it falls through, the UFC are left with egg on their face. So look, I'm not saying that John Jones doesn't fight again. I think he might. I think especially if Tom Aspinall loses, I think he comes back out of retirement or this retirement that he's got going on. I'd be very shocked if he fights at the White House. He would have to give Dana White so many assurances and give up so much in terms of negotiation power for Dana White to even entertain it that I don't think he would. So that being said, I don't think it happens. And I actually, for once, agree with Dana White, if I'm going to be honest, guys. Let me know your thoughts. On to the last topic before I let you guys go. Paul Hughes is getting his rematch against Usman Nurmagomedov. A fight that was one of the fights of the year last year. Now they will be fighting at PFL Champion Series Road to Dubai on Friday, the 3rd of October. I'm going to try and actually get over to that. I'm going to try and get a media pass to that. If anyone has a hookup for flights or anything like that to get to Dubai or, you know, a cheap way of getting there, do let me know. I might be able to sort out accommodation over there. I might have some family over there who might be able to help me out with accommodation. But yeah, if you guys can let me know, because I'd be really appreciative if you know anyone who can get any good deals on flights or anything. But on the card, apart from the main event, obviously you got Corey Anderson fighting Dovlet Yagshimiradov. One of the fights I'm really looking forward to is a catchweight bout at 165 pounds between Tugirov and Artem Lobov. Artem Lobov making his return back to MMA, fighting in the PFL card. Look, if anyone doesn't know, there's a massive history between these two fighters and they really despise each other. So for this fight to happen, I'm really looking forward to that fight. Look, it's a nice card. Again, it's a PFL card, so I'm not going to go too overboard. But if I'm going to be completely honest and open about it, Hughes versus Nurmagomedov 2 is, in my opinion, the most eagerly anticipated fight outside of the UFC. It really is. The first fight was such a close fight. I had Paul Hughes win the fight. He lost the fight by, I think it might have been a split or unanimous decision, but it was a razor thin decision. And if the fight's anything like the first fight, it's going to be an amazing fight. One thing I will say, though, is the element of surprise is gone for Paul Hughes now, and that might make things a bit more difficult. But I can't wait for this fight. If I can't get out to Dubai and watch the fight, I will probably do a watch along for the fight. So make sure you stay tuned for that, please, people. Right, gonna wrap up there. If you haven't already, please do smash the like button, subscribe if you're new to the channel, on the road to 8,000 subs. So shout out to Never a Foul. If you have come over from Never a Foul, please do subscribe. It'd be greatly appreciated for more content like this. Plus, got some big stuff coming out over the next few weeks and the next month as well. So make sure you look out for that, interviews, etc. So doing big things on this channel. So make sure you subscribe, please, people. Remember, I'm back later on tonight, maybe about 11:30 in between the Coppish and Mont show. So make sure you check out there for Matchmaker Monday. Big up to each and every one of you in the chat. Thanks for watching and listening, but mind how you go. Thanks for watching the Sanderson Show. Take care.